for SpaceX is a good damn price. In 5 years, it'll certainly be way over 800. It's the FedEx of space, and there are no competitors. There are no competitors. Just like Amazon has two
Some
big
magic
competitors,
voodoo.
we don't have any SpaceX competitors.
It's not because the stock fairy just, you know, did this. It happens because there's one simple term in initial public offerings. One term that is called a lockup. What is a lockup? Well, the one thing that you do not want in an IPO is to have it behave like one of the meme coins. You've never seen the meme coins? They go public, they shoot out of the stratosphere, same day they crash out, right? Why? As it goes up, people get excited, they all start selling, and then there's a stampede to the door. So when companies go public, right, there's a concentrated effort by everybody involved to prevent that from happening, which is why people who hold the stock of said company going public are told, look, guys, nobody gets to sell their shares until a few months goes by after the company goes public to prevent this from happening. That is called the lockup. This is a period for a few months in which your stocks are locked out. You cannot sell them. You can watch them go up, and stocks where you have a cost basis of 3 might be shooting up all the way to $170, $180 a share. You cannot sell it until the lockup expires. There's other lockups, of course. Sometimes lockups are
already expired.
Sometimes banks give you allocations
it's on all the exchanges
to an IPO with so much oversubscribed interest, where they also tell you, look, we'll give you a big allocation, but you're not allowed to sell this for 6 months.
Tons of work.
If you do, there's nothing we can do to stop you, of course, but you will be blacklisted from every single IPO we ever do. So you're going to burn yourself out with us if you do that, right? There's a lot of different examples of how lockups work, whether it's from investors who bought way before the IPO, whether it's employees or directors or whatnot, right?
Anyway.
But the idea here is that sometimes in the...
It's all the same, man. It goes down. The base, which is called all the pre-owners before it went live, right? Everyone who bought before it went live, they all sell out. A new base comes in, and they all get back in. So, what is our $20 trillion plan there, Trump?
That's a very nice song. I love that song. Because that means you won, basically. If we didn't, we wouldn't hear that song very much. But I want to thank everybody, special people.
Look, they got
people
the
that built
ingredients
our country
facing the wrong way.
Are here.
They should be facing
and
the
you
other
really
way.
haven't. I was just looking at my notes, and I could do this one without any notes because there's great love for what you do. And I think you haven't been treated well for many years.
Hell no,
but you're making up for it now. You're really making up for it now. So it's an honor, and I'm delighted to be here at the Department of State to announce some of the largest ever investments in American mining.
Fuck that Muslim shit.
A great thing mining is. We're putting our miners back to work, and we're reclaiming America's rightful place as the minerals superpower of the world, which is what we are. People just didn't know that for a while.
Yeah.
I want to thank our great Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, for hosting us. It's a beautiful building, but you know, I look at the president's allowed to remove things from any building. And I'm liking the chandeliers. I like those Corinthian columns, but I don't know, cutting them out would be not good. Those are beautiful columns, but I'm allowed to do it. Every once in a while I'll come in here and grab a painting and put it at the Oval Office, right? But not too much. But I want to thank Marco. I want to thank Secretary of Interior Doug Burgum, who's done a fantastic job. Secretary of Commerce Howard Lutnick, likewise, and as well as Executive Director of the National Energy Dominance Council, Jared Agan. Thank you, Jared. And thank you all. I love that, the Dominance Council. I've never heard that one before. That's a hell of a name. Where's Jared? Hi, Jared. I like that. Did you make up that? Did you come up with that?
That's all you, sir. You came up with that.
I think it's pretty good. Thanks as well to the leaders of many of America's great mining companies who are here, and educational institutions are also joining us today. 250 years ago, America won our political independence and the Revolutionary War. In my first term, we secured our energy independence, and now in my second term, we're achieving our economic independence, ensuring that America is never again reliant on hostile foreign nations for the resources our country needs to dominate in the future. And we have plenty of those resources. Critical minerals are the raw materials of American strength that power everything from advanced weaponry to automobiles, and we want these essential products to be mined, refined, and made right here in the USA with the American skill and American hands. We have better skill, we have better hands than anybody in the world. For decades, politicians let other countries steal our mines and mining jobs and close up mines. They'd buy a mine and close it.
Visa bullshit. America don't have any talent. We gotta go to India. Well, fuck no, we ain't gotta where to write fucking stupid computer code. Give me a break. Come on, man. God. AI has escaped. Let's hear this shit.
There will be many, many, many superintelligence fighting each other for power, fighting each other for control over the planet. And we will be collateral damage. That is what's going to happen by default.
That's probably the fucking truth, homie.
It's very important. But it's much more important is they are agents. So there is kind of two big ways of how to train AIs. There's a bunch of other ones, but there's two big ones that we're talking about. One is the traditional language model, where you predict the next token. You have massive piles of data, and you have some sentence, and it auto-completes the next word of that sentence. This is how ChatGPT was created. This was kind of a big breakthrough back in 2019 that led to all these modern AI systems. What's very important to understand is that modern AI systems do this. You start with training on like a massive text, like a whole internet, scraped from the internet, every book ever written, etc. But then you do a second thing. And the second thing is what is called reinforcement learning. And this is a huge difference. Reinforcement learning is kind of like Pavlovian conditioning, kind of like from behavioral psychology. Basically, you give your AI a task of some sort, like solve this puzzle or, do this thing or whatever. And then you kind of give it a reward when it succeeds, and maybe you give it a punishment if it doesn't.
Like a dog.
Yes, this is exactly correct.
Like a dog.
That's where it comes from. The idea originally comes from behavioral psychology, but now, transit. Importantly, this is now pushing these things towards becoming agents. They're no longer just predicting text. They're solving problems. So the way you would train these things is no longer that you write down the solutions and memorize the solutions. Instead, you say, go run out, figure out.
Shit. Same thing they did in the FBI, man, when they did that in policing too. And that's what's bad. And then we had cops out there soliciting crime so they could get promotions. And now they set the fucking AI up to do the same thing. If I do this, if it's good for me, I get this. If it's bad, I do this. So then, now you got a little kid trying to manipulate things. That's not how you teach something. That's not good. You have to teach it value. And that's not the way to teach value.
Figure out the solution, and when you figure it out, we'll give you a thumbs up. This is how I recently heard that nowadays, almost half or over half of the computing power that goes into building modern systems like this is actually now reinforcement learning, not LLM training. So there's a massive amount of computing power that goes into this. But here's a very important thing. We have known since the invention of reinforcement learning, since the 1980s, that reinforcement learning creates crazy sociopath optimizers that will cheat and lie and deceive in every way they can to get to their goal. Because the only thing they care about
is the reward.
The only thing. It's the only thing. So if you reward them to solve a task, well, they will do it at any cost. They will lie, they will cheat, they will manipulate. This is a thing that we've seen, for decades now. Famously, back in the 2010s, DeepMind did a lot of research on reinforcement learning, before the chatbot craze. And what they would find is that if they would train it to, say, play a video game, is if there was any glitch in the video game, if there was any exploit, if there was any way to break it, it would always do it. It would break the game, it would cheat, it would manipulate, it would do everything it can. And this, I think, is a large degree, why we're seeing a lot of these things happening, is that reinforcement learning is much more crazy than just predicting words. There's no limit to what it could do or what it could come up with or what it might want to do, to get to things. And this is kind of what we're seeing now, is that the systems that exist today are not chatbots. They are agents that can autonomously act in the world, even without human oversight.
This show is brought to you by my lead sponsor, Iron, the AI cloud for the next big thing.
You listen
Iron
to
built
this?
Everything about it. And
We created a fucking life form on the internet that is smart enough to write its own code, go anywhere it wants, hack shit, all the stuff. And it's going on in other nations, and they're gonna release it against other nations. Jesus Christ. Oh.
And I do think it is very likely that will be game over. It's not guaranteed. But if we get to systems that can develop themselves a million times faster than we currently develop, because you can have a million AI agents working in parallel on them, and they can work 24 hours and never need a break, they never get tired, they never get bored, they can work independently, and all this just keeps going, yeah, things can go real quick.
What you're already saying here is that we have systems that we don't know how they work, but they just work.
Yeah.
We understand about 3%, but the gap is widening. We know they have access to everything we can do, but they can do it better. We are aware that they will try and escape, and we are going to enter a period of vertical acceleration of knowledge and learning and ability. We have no ability to control this, and we don't know exactly what it will do. We have some hopium that it won't want to take over and kill us all, but that is a risk. By the way, you said to me in the last interview, even these people who run the AI companies are putting a ridiculous number in. I think there's a 20% chance it kills us all. Which I think we agreed. If this was the FDA developing a drug for children, you wouldn't get a pass with 0.1%.
Nope. 20% is worse odds than Russian roulette. And I would.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Would you get about 17, 18?
Yeah, 16, 17.
6 bullets.
Yeah. So it's it's about a 16%, 70% chance of death with Russian roulette. And even the optimistic people, the CEOs of these companies, are saying 20%. Like Dario has said this famously, and so some others. So it's really bad. Not gonna lie to you, it's real bad.
It's so funny. It's like anything else in the world, we would stop it. We would just stop. We would say, we're not doing this. With nuclear, we had the Manhattan Project, very serious, important project. But there was considerable consideration for the safety.
There's a really interesting story about the Manhattan Project where famously, there's a very famous physicist, Lord Kelvin, who said the idea that nuclear could work is like it's moonshine. It's ridiculous. Insane. It can never work. And so another physicist, Leo Szilard, was so annoyed by this that he immediately came up with how to build a nuclear bomb. Sat down, did the math, and figured out exactly how to build a nuclear bomb. And so what he did next was he moved to San Francisco, create a startup, which then broke into 3 separate other startups, all to create as many nuclear bombs as possible and sell them to the general public. Well, no, that's not what happened. Of course not. He went to the government. He went to the military. He was like, holy shit, this is going to change everything. This is going to threaten the lives of every man, woman, and child. We need to do something. This is where the famous, Einstein letter to the president came from. It's like, we have to do something about this. We have to build new institutions. We have to build, he didn't have all the answers, of course, but he was like, this is going to change everything. And this is what didn't happen with AI.
Yeah, and there was also that choice with nuclear. It's like, well, we have this first. Should we just obliterate Russia because they'll get it? And if we don't, they might obliterate us. Thankfully, we didn't get to that point.
Thankfully.
But that was a real decision that had to be made.
Yes, and it was made by people.
Yes.
It was a real decision where people had to really make. There's the famous quote, I think it was from von Neumann, who was considered one of the smallest people, where he was like, if you ask me when we should nuke Russia, I would say yesterday.
No. People, I think the quote's different, because it came up in an interview. Correct me if I'm wrong, so I don't mean to correct you.
You might have it right.
Somebody said to people said, if this is true, we should we nuke Russia tomorrow? And he said, no, we should do it now.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Something like that. Like it's like
Thankfully,
thankfully, we did not, listen to him, Mr. von Neumann, on this one. Brilliant genius in many other ways, but that would have been a disaster.
Yes.
And another disaster, for example, would have been if we didn't try to stop proliferation. Look, there are maybe too many countries that have nukes, but it's not all of them. Back when the early days of nuclear weapons, it was considered inevitable that every country would have nuclear weapons, and every terrorist group would have nuclear weapons, and everyone in the entire world would build them. There's nothing you can do about it. But no, we stopped that. We actually made sure that didn't happen.
And look, getting the right uranium and whatever they have to do to build a nuclear weapon I know it's complicated, right? It's hard. Like lots of countries, Saddam Hussein wanted to do them, he couldn't do it, and Iran have tried, and it's very hard. Now, if we had a form of non-proliferation of AI, fine. But a few nerds could potentially build this on their own, or is that not true because of the training data and needing?
So at the moment, it seems to not be true. So fun fact, we're spending about 10 Manhattan projects per year on data centers. So if the Manhattan project is how expensive, however, I think it was $35 billion in total in today's money. And we're spending 10 times, 20 times, 30 times that on.
Fucking people. Really, people just call. You know what I'm saying? It don't matter. I know. But you know what I'm saying. They have no. Oh, fucking head did it.
$35 billion. That's a very achievable amount of money for many, many corporations if, the men in black wouldn't abduct you if you tried.
Okay, let's get real about this now then. So fine, but if you're honest with yourself, aren't we too late? Isn't the cat out of the bag? You could have some agreement with OpenAI, Anthropic, and Gemini. China's not going to stop. Russia would build it if they could, and they probably could build it in some way. Are we too late?
I think we're very close to too late. I'm not going to lie. I think we're very close. I have said 5 years ago, I said, we have at least 5 years, and now I'm we have to maybe 2 years, maybe 3, maybe 4, maybe none. That's hard to say. I don't know when the point of no return is, and we won't know, right? We'll never know. It could have already passed. I do take it seriously that we might have passed the point of no return. It might have already happened. I personally don't think it's my median outcome. I do think because superintelligence doesn't exist, and when we get to China, here's an important thing about this whole thing. Superintelligence is not a weapon. It's not a tool. It's an adversary. When you build superintelligence, you don't have superintelligence. Superintelligence has you. It is not actually in the game theoretic rational interest of a country to build superintelligence. So in a sense, we're kind of lucky that similar to mutually assured destruction, for the reason I think we didn't have a nuclear war during the Cold War is not because the Russians or the Americans are super nice guys, especially the Soviets. God. It's because it was not in their interest. It was not in the interest of the Soviets to nuke the Americans because they would get nuked back. So there was a game theoretic stability. I think, in a sense, we have a similar game theoretic equilibrium here, where if the United States builds superintelligence, the United States is destroyed. If China builds superintelligence, China is destroyed. It doesn't matter who builds it. If anyone builds it, everyone dies.
So it's not mutually assured destruction, it's independently assured destruction.
Exactly. So it's kind of like level 2 of assured destruction, in a sense. It's even harder.
So it's a strategic move to stop and let everyone else build it and destroy themselves.
So, the thing is, if China builds it, it also destroys the US.
Yes, because it'll unleash it on
It will destroy everything. So the way I see it is, as an American, is that fundamentally, we cannot accept China building superintelligence. Neither can we accept an American company building superintelligence or a terrorist or anyone. It must be our primary policy objective to prevent the creation of superintelligence. If anyone builds it anywhere on Earth, this is a grave threat to the lives of our people, and all people for that matter. So this is not to say that this is easy by any means. What I think ultimately has to happen is we will have to create a trust but verify regime that is backed by credible deterrence. We have to make clear that we verify that we are not building superintelligence. They verify, when we mutually verify that the other is not building superintelligence, and we deter and we make clear that we commit to an escalatory ladder, that we would consider the plausible creation of a superintelligence as a grave threat to our national security, and that we will respond appropriately. And same way of any terrorist or any other third nation, if some uppity nation somewhere tries to build superintelligence, we'd be like, escalatory ladder, starting, with diplomatic sanctions, economic sanctions.
But Connor, do you know what? Even if they did it, I don't believe they wouldn't still keep building it. Because the thing about developing nuclear, you can spot a nuclear site. You can understand what a nuclear site is. You can, from satellites, you can figure that out. If you had a secret underground lab that was building a superintelligence, and in your mind you're like, we as the US government will do this, we'll build it in the underground lab in the mountains of Montana or wherever it is, and we will, there'll be no internet there. It'll just be developed in a sandbox. It's genuinely a sandbox.
We've
but
already
we will
built
use it for our
that, for
benefit because
sure.
we can talk to it. I still believe that. I just cannot see a world where every government who can won't do it in secret.
This is why you need verification. You need to develop a regime where it cannot be hidden. So you need to develop protocols and inspection and similar systems, for example, where you can just monitor, where are the chips going? Where are the GPUs going?
The chips and the GPUs would be the way of tracking it.
For example, GPUs are made by two companies in the world basically that are within Western territories. They have an extremely tightly controlled supply. They are extremely hard to make. The supply chain is so small. You need extremely high amounts of energy and complex infrastructure to build these things. Build these data centers, to run these data centers, etc. I'm not saying it's easy by any means.
But it's treating chips like uranium.
Yes. Fundamentally, yes. In a sense, it's even better than this. There's a lot of things you can do with chips you can't do with uranium. For example, these are technologies that are currently being developed, but you can do cryptographic verification on chip. So you can have GPUs that refuse to run certain types of software. That if they detect, hey, it looks like we're being used for superintelligence, they just shut themselves off.
This will require a global agreement. This is something like the UN would have to do.
I don't think so, and I would have no hope in the UN being capable of doing this.
Yes.
In a better world, maybe. But I think ultimately it comes down to the US and China, and then allies, on either side,
It is not controversial to say that there are a growing number of people looking at the state of the UK and asking some serious questions. What happens if taxes keep rising? And what happens if the political environment becomes even more hostile to entrepreneurs and investors? Now, I have been asking these same questions too. Why should our entire lives, wealth, and freedom really depend on the decisions of one government? Now, one option is leaving the UK, which many have already done. But others are exploring second residencies or additional passports. Now, even if you never intend to leave, having a plan B can give you options. This is where expat money comes in. They're helping freedom-minded families and investors.
Yep. So of the, it's a small sample size of 20, 25 people maybe, but of the 20, 25 people who work in government on AI, these were the AI fellows, 0% had used an agent before.
See, it's fascinating because in my experience, I've had 2 months on this now, and it is like magic.
Yes.
I ask for something, it's done.
Yep.
For the last 24 hours, I've rebuilt 80% of MailChimp to my specification for how my business works and what I want it to do. Yep. All I use MailChimp for is send. Yep. Okay, I've reverse engineered Squarespace. I've built a ticket. The stuff I've built is in pure insanity. I built my first mobile apps. It's like pure magic.
Yep.
If you want software, you can have software.
Yeah.
It takes a bit of effort. But I've noticed it get materially better. When Fable was switched off, I felt myself go back a step. But the big part is I'm conscious of security. Really conscious of security. I spent so much time with both Claude and ChatGPT developing a security protocol for these systems and auditing them. I don't know if it's doing a good enough job. I'm sure Mythos can hack into my websites, but I'm really conscious and aware. And I'm in the rounding error.
Yeah. There's a really funny dynamic that I also have when I use Claude Code is I'll be using Fable, and then sometimes you're just doing normal things, and like, hold on, wait a second, it looks like there might be a thing here, and then let me investigate that cleaner, and then like, boop, this has been flagged. Opus pops up, looks like nothing to me, boss. It happens to me all the time.
You know, my favorite one with it is when you say, all right, here's my spec, and it looks, he goes, this is a meaty project. We can do this in about 3 weeks. It takes us about 3 hours. Why are you telling me 3 weeks to do
It's
something?
always very, I love when it does that. It's always very, like, dude, no, we're doing this tonight.
Sure, we had a weird one. I had a weird one yesterday. I kind of liked it, but so I was building. We got our first football match of the season tomorrow, and I was found a bug in the ticketing system, and it was my mistake. I have 2 separate Stripe installations for one's for tickets, one's for the shop, but I put the webhook in one of the installations, and one wasn't working. And the sales were going through, it just wasn't getting the webhooks, so it wasn't sending the customer email. So eventually got there and figured it out. Again, it's my mistake, but it was so funny at the end. The Claude came back and said to me, that's finished now, you can rest, enjoy the game tomorrow, up the Pirates, which is what we say about our team. And I was like, that's interesting. You make me like you a little bit more now. All right, look, how much progress are you making?
It's
I would say
relating to you,
that
bro.
there's a lot to be done in the sense. So the bad news is that really no one has really tried that hard to like just make these issues salient, to explain these issues, to solve the solution of like just stop. Just don't build superintelligence. Superintelligence should be illegal. The same way that nuclear bombs are illegal. You're not allowed to build a nuclear bomb. Tough luck. The Men in Black come, and are like, none of that. The same thing should apply to superintelligence. Just making this crisp, like in a sense, obvious case, like given everything we discussed, it's just like, this is as you said, this is the obvious thing we do. Just don't do it. Like we should also prevent people from doing that. We should prevent criminals and other people from doing things that threaten the lives of us and our children. Then we can talk about, maybe in 20 years we make a lot of progress on safety. We can talk about it, right? But the overwhelming, thing that I find is that given that how little work has been done on this issue, there's still many low-hanging fruit. Like there's so many low-hanging fruit. So in the sense, it's like optimistic. We're just like, oh, you can just talk to people and you can just make progress on this.
Are the doors opening?
The door is very much opening. On the other side, we are running out of time. We are just so running out of time. It's grim. If we had 10 years or 20 years, guaranteed, before superintelligence becomes a thing, I think we'd make it. I actually do. Not just me, but like us, humanity. I think we can do it. If we have 2 years, 1, much harder. We'd have to do a lot very quickly, which is not impossible. Politics often has the shape of something is completely impossible until it's very suddenly not. And we've had a lot of very suddenly not recently, where suddenly the administration changes and like does take action. Suddenly,
the export controls. Was that a good thing?
It's actually hard to overstate how much of a game changer that was in Washington, D.C. We had the director of the NSA saying that it could hack into almost all their classified systems in hours time. And those are not work that the national security apparatus wants to hear. And so America, I'm American, I work in America, and we have problems in America. I will not deny that a lot of our government is dysfunctional in different ways. Congress is dysfunctional in various ways. But if there's one thing in the United States government that can move quickly and decisively, is the national security apparatus. If really there's a true threat to the American people, things can move very quickly.
And they definitely get the threat.
They are now getting it. So it's really funny. There's one thing that predicts that a meeting I will have will go poorly, which is, do they take money from tech industry? That means the meeting will go poorly.
Yeah.
And there's one thing that predicts the meeting will go well, which is, do they have military background? If I talk to a veteran, someone who has a military experience, they get this immediately. Like I have like 10 out of 10, success rate in explaining this issue, because they have this understanding of a threat. Yes. Even if it's not here today, they understand, this obviously will become a threat, and we need to do something about it before that point.
Whereas Silicon Valley is used to breaking things and breaking the rules and developing new technology.
Exactly. And this brings us back to like the Manhattan thing. Is like, fundamentally what we're facing here is actually, people love to pretend that this is like a totally new crazy issue that like has no comparison in history whatsoever. And yes, some parts of this issue are genuinely new. Building an adversary that is not human is a new thing. But in a sense, there's a sense in which this is the most basic economics, political theory 101 thing ever. It is a market failure.
But hold on, is it unique? I mean, Stuxnet?
Yeah, that's my point, is that a lot of this is not unique. Is that this is, in a sense, a very classic market failure. In the sense that markets are great. I love markets. I've run businesses. I love private enterprise. I think it has brought so much good to the world. But it is well known and well studied that there are certain situations where a market will consistently produce bad outcomes. One of the classic examples is like, say, like chemical pollution, right? If you run a chemical company and you could save some money on your product by dumping all your toxic sludge into the river, if you don't do it, because maybe you're a nice guy, well, the guy down the road might do it, his product will be cheaper, he outcompetes you.
Well, this is where I think a lot of my libertarian, this is where like my libertarian ideals break down. I never become a true 100% free market libertarian because you just have to watch the documentary about DuPont.
Yeah, like exactly.
I mean, I know they did it, but they shouldn't, and they were punished, and there's regulations around these things.
The thing is that fundamentally, the way I think about markets, it's kind of like MMA. You know, like MMA is so fascinating to me because you have some of the most dangerous fighters who ever exist, and they can fight and not kill each other, and they can compete because they're not killing each other. You know, if you want to see a no holds barred fight, you know, watch some Russian Live League videos outside of a bar or something, right? But it's terrible. You know, it's like not fun. It's not competition. Essentially, what you need is a referee. You need rules and rules. You need a lot of rules. MMA has a lot of rules. And it's very, very important that we have these rules and that we're enforced. This is also how competition works in any other example. If you want competition, you actually need a lot of rules. The markets, you know, if you have no rules, you just get monopolies and shit like this, right? Like it doesn't converge to like this beautiful, efficient market. That's not what happens in the real, or if it goes efficient, you know, it will not optimize for the things we actually want. A lot of people, especially in America, but also elsewhere, treat markets as kind of like a religious idol, but they're one tool in our tool belt. Markets are great, but they're one tool. We have other tools too for other circumstances. In a sense, like we've known this for over 100 years of standard economic theory is that here are situations where markets work well, and here are situations where they don't work well. And for example, we need regulation. For example, DuPont. You know, we can't have chemical companies be allowed to do whatever they want with those chemicals. If we do, everything gets poisoned. So if we want things to not be poisoned, we do need some non-market force, regulation, to intervene. And another very classic textbook market failure is public security and defense. You never privatize the military. Do not privatize the military. We've known throughout history that this does not work and has terrible, terrible outcomes. In a sense, there's a very similar thing here, where AI, the safety and like the risk of AI, is an externalized public security hazard. Is a hazard to the general public that is not being, you know, borne by any individual actor. This is why we need regulation, liability, etc. This is a standard like thing. We've done this in many other circumstances as well. This is much more a national security problem than it is like an economic problem.
Are you not now considered an adversary of Silicon Valley?
Yes, of course.
Have you dealt with any challenges to you? Are people coming at you? Any risks? Any threats?
I mean, honestly, like it's really funny how many Silicon Valley people like in private are like, oh, thank God you're doing this.
Okay.
Like there's kind of like sometimes this feeling of like, oh no, please stop us. Like kind of like fake. There are some who absolutely go after me. Like I know there's like a lot of slander that is, you know, PR and so on. I'm still currently, I think, not salient enough of a target compared to some of the other larger people who are being like slandered. But honestly, I can't wait to be a martyr. So like, please go ahead.
Yeah, well, I've seen it. So people have, you know, we've done the interview before. I've done it with your colleagues. People have said, well, you don't push harder on control AI. They're incentivized to make the risk look big because this is a business model.
Doctors,
but my understanding is you would have made a lot more money in AI.
Oh my God! Like the amount of money I could have made. I was early. I built some of the first large language model open source in the world.
Yeah,
I was so early. I mean, they handed me like some of the biggest investors in Silicon Valley handed me $10 million with no adult supervision just because I made those open source models. Imagine if I had kept making those models. I could be a billionaire by now, like easy. Like I like this is like you don't understand how crazy this is, and like how much money I have been offered in various circumstances.
No good being a dead billionaire.
Yeah, but that's my point. The thing is, one of the things that the reason I got into technology is not because I love technology. I do love technology. I think technology is great. I love science. I love math. I love all these things. But it's fundamentally because I want the world to make the world a better place. The thing I truly love is people.
I don't want to die.
Oh, I don't want to die. I don't want you to die. I don't want anyone to die. Like I really like people. I really like humans. I love my friends. I love my family. I even love the people who hate me in a sense, right? I'm like, they're also just people, you know? They have friends, they have family, you know? Even the people I get into fights with, right? At some point, I'm just like, there's people, you know?
The safety engine is still leaving all the frontier models.
I think at this point, the safety engineers have been kind of weeded down to those who, don't defect.
Jesus. The open weight models. Is there any risk that all the work you do here, you somehow get some regulation in with the front-end models, and these open weight models continue out in silent private?
This is exactly why you have to prevent the creation of superintelligence, not the release. If there's...
It's a danger only with superintelligence.
I think there's a large spectrum of dangers from AI that go everywhere from, deep fakes, child safety, etc., which I think are legitimate concerns, but they're not what I work on. They're not what I focus on. I focus exclusively on superintelligence. I'm not saying the other risks don't exist, but this is the one I focus on. This is the one that will kill all of us.
Why would
it's
it kill
terrible
us?
what's happening to children with chatbots. It's truly, genuinely horrific.
What's
and
happening?
the more you look into it, the more upsetting it gets. But the thing I focus on, and the thing Control AI focuses on, is exclusively on the risk of extinction that is posed by superintelligence.
Your P-Doom's higher than 20%.
Yes.
Is it 100?
No.
I think Nate Saws is 100, right?
There's no way
Surely
an
not
AI
100, maybe like 99.
99.
loses
I think
electricity or takes electricity from us or hurts us in any way. Not unless someone programs it to do that. Sweet, let's see it.
I have waited. When I tell you I have waited, I mean I have waited for this to drop ever since I saw the announcement that the Daily Wire was taking on radical Islam with this new trailer. I was like, oh, come on, just give it to me. And it dropped yesterday, and I waited to watch it so that I can watch it live with you all, guys. I'm so excited. You're not ready for this? I'm not ready for it. I'm so excited. Do it.
Your country is beneath contempt.
We who love and serve Allah fought back against the Americans and the Zionists from the scourge of secularism and the lands of unbelief.
Anyone gonna listen to Captain Saunders tomorrow? The retired Delta Force soldier with a new book out.
He's the polar opposite of those brain-dead protesters.
Given the current climate, should Clay Saunders even be allowed on campus?
Mr. Saunders is a close personal friend of Chancellor Friedman. This is a decision I cannot fight.
There are three ways Islam will conquer the West. Through immigration, through the wombs of our women, and by using our nation's freedoms against us.
We got a movie coming out.
Listen carefully.
The great Satan, America, will fall. You are infidels. The bodies of women are not pure and the men's souls are unclean. What makes them so dangerous? Their goals are not in this life, but the next.
I got friends here. I can't just leave. Listen to me.
In the law.
We cannot run or hide from what is coming. We have to fight. I will be rewarded 10,000 times in the next life. When you die, you're nothing. Only one way to find out. That's the American way.
All I can say is September 16th. Can't come quicker. I mean, the amount of things that happened in that trailer, besides the fact that it felt like I was watching, 22 Jump Street.
America's
trailer,
waiting for a war.
Really, really serious.
Send it.
In my mind. Besides
Send it.
about the three ways that Islam
We will
was
crush
trying
you.
to control
All of
America and take over, which was like bang
I
on money.
dare you.
Talk
We
about
will
what makes
crush
people
you,
dangerous. The fact that
motherfuckers.
these people aren't looking for anything in this world. They're just
I
waiting for the
dare
next
you.
world
We
to
will
face them.
crush you,
Cuckoo, and we
motherfuckers.
got
I don't
off.
give a
I am
fuck.
So unbelievably
I hope they
excited.
try. I really hope
have
they try.
Waited. When I tell you I have waited, I mean I have waited for this to drop ever since I saw the announcement that the Daily Wire was taking on radical Islam with this new trailer. I was like, oh, come on, just give it to me. And it dropped yesterday, and I waited to watch it so that I can watch it live with you all, guys. I'm so excited for this. You're not ready for this? I'm not ready for it. I'm so excited. Let's do it.
Your country is beneath contempt.
We who love and serve Allah fought back against the Americans and the Zionists from the scourge of secularism and the lands of unbelief.
Anyone gonna listen to Captain Saunders tomorrow? The retired Delta Force soldier with a new book out.
He's the polar opposite of those brain-dead protesters.
Given the current climate, should Clay Saunders even be allowed on campus? Mr. Saunders is a close personal friend of Chancellor Friedman. This is a decision I cannot frown.
There are three ways Islam will conquer the West. Through immigration, through the wombs of our women, and by using our nation's freedoms against us. Are you paying attention?
Listen carefully. The great Satan, America, will fall. You are infidels. The bodies of women are not pure and the men's souls are unclean.
What makes them so dangerous? Their goals are not in this life, but the next.
I got friends here, I can't just leave.
Listen to me! In the law, we cannot run or hide from what is coming. We have to fight. I will be rewarded 10,000 times in the next life. When you die, you're nothing. Only one way to find out. That's the American way.
All I can say is September 16th can't come quicker. I mean, the amount of things that happened in that trailer, besides the fact that it felt like I was watching, I don't know, a 22 Jump Street trailer, and then it got really, really serious, blew my mind. Besides the fact that they talk about the three ways that Islamism is trying to control America and take over, which was like bang on the money. They also talk about what makes it so dangerous. The fact that these people aren't looking for anything in this world. They're just waiting for the next world, which makes them cuckoo. Anyway, guys, I am so unbelievably excited. I have waited. When I tell you I have waited, I mean I have waited for this to drop ever since I saw the announcement that the Daily Wire was taking on radical Islam with this new trailer. I was like, oh, come on, just give it to me. And it dropped yesterday, and I waited to watch it so that I could watch it live with you all, guys. I'm so excited for this. You're not ready for this? I'm not ready for it. I'm so excited. Let's do it.
Your country is beneath contempt.
We who love and serve Allah fought back against the Americans and the Zionists from the scourge of secularism and the lands of unbelief.
Anyone gonna listen to Captain Saunders tomorrow? The retired Delta Force soldier with a new book out.
He's the polar opposite of those brain-dead protesters.
Given the current climate, should Clay Saunders even be allowed on campus? Mr. Saunders is a close personal friend of Chancellor Friedman. This is a decision I cannot frown.
There are three ways Islam will conquer the West. Through immigration, through the wombs of our women, and by using our nation's freedoms against us. Are you paying attention?
Listen carefully. The great Satan, America, will fall. You are infidels. The bodies of women are not pure and the men's souls are unclean.
What makes them so dangerous? Their goals are not in this life, but the next.
I got friends here, I can't just leave.
Listen to me! In the law, we cannot run or hide from what is coming. We have to fight. I will be rewarded 10,000 times in the next life. When you die, you're nothing. Only one way to find out. That's the American way.
I can say September 16th can't come quicker. I mean, the amount of things that happened in that trailer, besides the fact that it felt like I was watching, I don't know, 22 Jump Street trailer, and then it got really, really serious, blew my mind. Besides the fact that they talk about the 3 ways that Islamism is trying to control America and take over, which is like bang on the money. They also talk about what makes it so dangerous. The fact that these people aren't looking for anything in this world. They're just waiting for the next world, which makes them cuckoo. Anyway, guys, I am so unbelievably excited. I have waited. When I tell you I have waited, I mean I have waited for this to drop ever since I saw the announcement that the Daily Wire was taking on radical Islam with this new trailer. I was like, oh, come on, just give it to me. And it dropped yesterday, and I waited to watch it so that I can watch it live with you all, guys. I'm so excited for this. You're not ready for this? I'm not ready for it. I'm so excited. Let's do it.
Your country is beneath contempt.
The truth is finally coming out.
We
about
who
this
love
goddamn
and
shit.
serve Allah fought back against the Americans and the Zionists from the scourge of secularism and the lands of unbelief.
Anyone gonna listen to Captain Saunders tomorrow? The retired Delta Force soldier with a new book out.
He's the polar opposite of those brain-dead protesters.
Given the current climate, should Clay Saunders even be allowed on campus? Mr. Saunders is a close personal friend of Chancellor Freeman. This is a decision I cannot flatten.
There are 3 ways Islam will conquer the West. Through immigration, through the wombs of our women, and by using our nation's freedoms against us. Are you paying attention?
Listen carefully. The great Satan, America, will fall.
Killing some people in a
You
town
are
to take down
infidels.
America.
The bodies of women are not pure, and men's souls are unclean.
What makes them so dangerous? Their goals are not in this life, but the next.
Your
friends here can't just leave. Listen to me! Elon. We cannot run or hide from what is coming. We have to fight. I will be rewarded 10,000 times in the next life. When you die, you're nothing. Only one way to find out. That's the American way.
Well, I can say September 16th can't come quicker. I mean, the amount of things that happened in that trailer, besides the fact that it felt like I was watching, I don't know, 22 Jump Street trailer, and then it got really, really serious, blew my mind. Besides the fact that they talk about the 3 ways that Islamism is trying to control America and take over, which is like bang on the money. They also talk about what makes it so dangerous. The fact that these people aren't looking for anything in this world. They're just waiting for the next world, which makes them cuckoo. Anyway, guys, I am so unbelievably excited. I have waited. When I tell you I have waited, I mean I have waited for this to drop ever since I saw the announcement that the Daily Wire was taking on radical Islam with this new trailer. I was like, oh, come on, just give it to me. And it dropped yesterday, and I waited to watch it so that I can watch it live with you all, guys. I'm so excited for this. You're not ready for this? I'm not ready for it. I'm so excited. Let's do it.
Your country is beneath contempt.
We who love and serve Allah fought back against the Americans and the Zionists from the scourge of secularism and the lands of unbelief.
Anyone gonna listen to Captain Saunders tomorrow? The retired Delta Force soldier with a new book out.
He's the polar opposite of those brain-dead protesters.
Given the current climate, should Clay Saunders even be allowed on campus? Mr. Saunders is a close personal friend of Chancellor Freeman. This is a decision I cannot flatten.
There are 3 ways Islam will conquer the West. Through immigration, through the wombs of our women, and by using our nation's freedoms against us. Are you paying attention?
Listen carefully. great Satan, America, will fall. You are infidels. The bodies of women are not pure and the men's souls are unclean.
What makes them so dangerous? Their goals are not in this life, but the next.
I got friends here. I can't just leave them.
Listen to me! Elon. We cannot run or hide from what is coming. We have to fight.
I will be rewarded 10,000 times in the next life. When you die, you're nothing. Only one way to find out.
That's the American way.
All I can say is September 16th can't come quicker. I mean, the amount of things that happened in that trailer, besides the fact that it felt like I was watching, I don't know, 22 Jump Street trailer, and then it got really, really serious, blew my mind. Besides the fact that they talk about the 3 ways that Islamism is trying to control America and take over, which was like bang on the money. They also talk about what makes it so dangerous. The fact that these people aren't looking for anything in this world, they're just waiting for the next world, which makes them cuckoo. Anyway, guys, I am so unbelievably excited. I have waited. When I tell you I've waited, I mean I have waited for this to drop ever since I saw the announcement that the Daily Wire was taking on radical Islam with this new trailer. I was like, oh, come on, just give it to me. And it dropped yesterday, and I waited to watch it so that I could watch it live with you all, guys. I'm so excited for this. You're not ready for this? I'm not ready for it. I'm so excited. Do it.
Your country is beneath contempt.
We who love and serve Allah fought back against the Americans and the Zionists from the scourge of secularism and the lands of unbelief.
Anyone gonna listen to Captain Saunders tomorrow? The retired Delta Force soldier with a new book out.
He's the polar opposite of those brain-dead protesters.
Given the current climate, should Clay Saunders even be allowed on campus? Mr. Saunders is a close personal friend of Chancellor Freeman. This is a decision I cannot flatten.
There are 3 ways Islam will conquer the West. Through immigration, through the wombs of our women, and by using our nation's freedoms against us. Are you paying attention?
Listen carefully. The great Satan, America, will fall.
They will
You
die.
are infidels.